Hello my dear friends, you're in the Military Summary channel, and today we will discuss the situation in the world on the 8th of April of 2026. Today we have a lot of very interesting updates, so let's start. And first we're going to talk about the conflict on the theater of the Middle East, and according to the President of the United States of America, this conflict is about to be settled once again by the United States of America and by the President of the United States of America personally. During the previous 24 hours he made a statement about a double-sided ceasefire between the Iranian side and the United States of America itself. This ceasefire will last for 2 weeks, and during this period of time the United States and the Iranian side will try to find a solution how to prepare and to sign a final document. And of course, during the night, we received lots of statements that were made both by the President of States and by the Secretary of War, Pete Hegseth, when they were saying that the United States of America won the battle, the war in the Middle East, that the United States of America is a winner. Of course, right after all these statements, the Iranian side announced similar things. The Iranian said that this is exactly the Iranian side who won the war in the Middle East, and the Iranians stated that due to the fact that the United States of America accepted their 10-point plan, due to this fact, the Iranians announced themselves as winners. Right after the Iranians and declared themselves as winners of the Third Gulf War, the United Arab Emirates did the same. They said that the United Arab Emirates has achieved victory in a war it sincerely sought to avoid. We have triumphed in an epic national defense, protected our sovereignty and dignity, and preserved our achievements in the face of treacherous aggression, wrote the president's advisor. So the United Arab Emirates was the third country that declared itself as a winner. And of course, the fourth states that declared itself as a winner were Ukrainians. For example, the Minister of Foreign Affairs of Ukraine stated that Ukraine considers itself as a winner in the war in the Middle East. This was stated on Wednesday morning by the head of the Ukraine Foreign Minister Andrei Sigiba. There are no clear losers in this war, but there are winners, and Ukraine is among them, the Ukrainian authorities stated. And based on these statements, we came to the conclusion that the Military Summary channel is also a winner of the Persian Gulf War. So that is why we are also declaring ourselves as winners in this conflict. Of course, we will not be able to charge additional dollar for every single barrel of oil that goes through the theater of the Strait of Hormuz, but we don't need this. The most important thing is that we are the winners. Anyway, the situation is not so simple and is not so funny, probably, that can be seen from the first sight. The situation is very difficult and very complicated. And the thing is that the truce that was announced by the President of the United States of America has lasted just 2 or 3 hours, and then the truce was broken by strikes that were carried out by different states of the Persian Gulf area. And the most important problem was why the truce was probably broken is that not every single party of the Persian Gulf conflict was involved into the negotiation process. Once again, according to information we have, the Iranians proposed their 10-point plan, and this is a very important plan. And according to this plan, the cessation of war should take place on all fronts, including against Hezbollah in Lebanon. This is the 10th point in the 10-point plan that was provided by the Iranian side. And this morning, according to information we have, we start receiving lots of updates from Israel, from Lebanon, and of course from the southern Iran. The most important thing is that the office of the Prime Minister of Israel, Benjamin Netanyahu, made a very very interesting statement. Israel supports President Trump's decision to suspend strikes against Iran for 2 weeks, subject to Iran immediately opening the strait and stopping all attacks on the US, Israel, and countries in the region. But later, the office of Prime Minister added and emphasized that Lebanon is not included in the 2-week ceasefire. But once again, according to the plan that was provided by the Iranians, Lebanon was included in the 2-week ceasefire plan. So this is the first important thing. And this morning we start receiving updates that the territory of Lebanon was under attack and the territory of the southern Iran was under attack as well. As for the Iranian side, we start receiving updates from the island by the name of Lavan. So, and this is the first picture that was published by local sources, by pro-Iranian sources. Here we can see that at least the first sources stated that there were at least 4 US-Israeli airstrikes targeted the Lavan oil refinery on Lavan Island in the Persian Gulf. So these are the first statements that were published right after the explosions and attacks took place. But later, we received this video where we can see the Lavan refinery on Iran's Lavan Island was subject to an attack at around 10 a.m. local time. Explosions were heard on Iran's Lavan and Siri Islands. It's unclear who carried out the attack. So as you can see, the second opinion was that it was unclear who carried out the attack on this island. And then we received the final update on this matter. And according to information we have, and several sources confirmed this information, that United Arab Emirates, Kuwait, and Bahrain, all 3 of them struck Lavan oil refinery in Lavan Island after ceasefire came into effect. Iran, in retaliation, struck all 3 countries, oil refineries, and desalination plants. So this is a very important situation. So as you can see, without the permission, without any permission from the US side, but probably synchronized with the Israeli side, the states of the Persian Gulf attacked oil refineries of Iran. So we are talking about the coalition of 3 states: United Arab Emirates, Bahrain, and probably Kuwait. So according to this article, Qatar wasn't involved in this operation, in this attack. So this is the situation, and this is a clear message to the Iranian side that if you don't allow us, our ships, our vessels, our tankers to pass through the Strait of Hormuz without any problems, without charging additional fees, then we will not allow you to do the same. So this attack on this island was something like a signal that if you don't change your position, the next target would be the island of Hark, and the island of Hark could be destroyed, and then the Iranian side will lose up to 90% of its export capabilities. So this is the situation that we can see right now. And summarizing everything, we can make a conclusion that the United States of America didn't stop this conflict, didn't start even a truce between themselves and the Iranian side. We just see how the United States of America is trying to quit the conflict and then to make the situation where the conflict would be just among the states of the Persian Gulf. Another important statement that was made by the President of the United States of America is this one. According to information we have, the United States of America will impose additional sanctions, additional tariffs up to 50% to any state, every single country that will supply and support Iran with weapons. A country supplying military weapons to Iran will immediately tariffed on any and all goods sold to the United States of America, 50% effective immediately. There will be no exclusions of or exemptions. This is a very important statement, and this statement means that the United States of America is leaving the conflict on the territory of the Middle East, and in coming days this conflict is going to be just between the states of the Middle East area of the Persian Gulf states. We're talking about Kuwait, Qatar, Bahrain, United Arab Emirates, Oman, Yemen, Saudi Arabia, Iran itself, Iraq, probably even Jordan, and maybe even Israel. So these states will be here, and the countries, global countries, will supply them support with weapons. The United States of America will sell weapons to one camp, and probably China and Russia will support another camp. And this war can last a very long period of time, at least until these global countries are able to take every single dollar from this area. So what's happened next? Another important update is coming from the southern parts of Lebanon, and the situation here is quite complicated. When talking about an official position of the Israeli side, as we discussed a minute ago, they completely support the President of the United States of America, but the sources familiar with the situation stated that behind the doors, the Israelis are showing that they are very upset that the United States of America decided to quit this conflict, because the Iranians, the Israelis are keeping advancing in the southern parts of Lebanon. And I would like to remind you that according to the Prime Minister of Israel, Benjamin Netanyahu, the Israelis are going to establish a buffer zone in the southern parts of the state of Lebanon along the river by the name of Litani. So this is the river. Let's add this river to this map for better understanding of the situation. So this is the river, and this river, as you can see, goes from the southwestern parts of Lebanon towards its eastern border. So approximately this is the river, and we see that the pink color is the territories where the Israelis, according to geolocations, according to different mappers, have already created a buffer zone. And of course, if the Israelis indeed are tasked to establish a buffer zone along this river, this means that they will try to establish complete control and to secure the territory to the south of this Litani River. So we are talking about these territories. And as you can see, there are a lot of territories, and basically the Israeli forces, the Israeli defense forces, are still at the beginning of this operation. If we calculate the square kilometers of the territories to the south of the river of Litani and the territories that were already secured by the Israeli defense forces, we can say that they managed to secure just probably 15%, but not more, which means that if 15% of the southern Lebanon took them 40 days, almost 40 days to establish a buffer zone, so which means that the rest of the territories will require another maybe 3 or even 4 or even 5 months to finish this operation. But we see that the United States of America have already quit this operation or about to do this. Another important thing is that during the previous 24 hours, according to the Israeli forces, according to Israel Channel 12, they said that the Israeli side tried to assassinate Naim Qassem, the Secretary General of Hezbollah, in today's bombing wave, but they believe he was not present in one of the buildings that was targeted. The sources are saying that up to 100 buildings were targeted during the previous 24 hours, more precisely at the beginning of the 8th of April of 2026. And this bombardment was the reason why the Iranian side began attacking the state of Israel and reported they will attack the state of Israel during the upcoming hours. And now we have the most important question: what the United States of America are going to do with this? Because obviously, due to this attack, the Iranian side will strike back. And this is going to be probably a very powerful attack. And the question is what the United States of America are going to do with this, either to cancel the truth and to rejoin this conflict once again, or they will keep their promises and their promises and the results of negotiations that the United States of America and the Iranians managed to achieve during the previous 24 hours, 12 hours, and they will wait for the beginning of talks on the territory of Pakistan, which most likely are going to take place or start during this Friday, in coming several days. So this is a very important question. Of course, let's wait and see. But this time we start to receive. Now we have reports that the Iranians have already charged several vessels to pay additional money to pass the Strait of Hormuz. The sources are saying that the Iranians want to get $1 per every single barrel of oil that cross the Strait of Hormuz. And the sources are saying that with this, the Iranian side will be able to get 60 billions of dollars each month if they are able to charge additional dollar for every single barrel that crosses this territory. And we understand that that's a lot of money. Furthermore, today we received the report that the United States of America, the President Trump, expressed an interest to create a company that will run the Strait of Hormuz together with the Iranian side, and this company will get all money, and then this money will be split between probably the Iranian side and some companies from the side of the United States of America. But obviously this is a very far situation as of now. It seems that the United States of America needs to find a solution how to stop clashes in Lebanon and how to stop attacks in the area of Persian Gulf, and how to probably force the Iranians to allow the states of the Persian Gulf area to cross the Strait of Hormuz, probably without paying or something like this. Anyway, let's wait and see what is going to be next, but obviously we are still very far from the end of the conflict on the territory of the Middle East, and it seems that something bigger is beginning, but this time without the participation of the US side. Now let's discuss the situation in Ukraine. During the previous 24 hours, we received lots of very interesting updates. According to information we have, both the Russians and the Ukrainians attacked each other during the previous day with hundreds of drones. The Ukrainians attacked the Crimea territory. There were lots of explosions on the territory of the city of Feodosia. This morning first we received this article where we can see the map with the fire anomaly and a picture with the smoke over this territory. Later, pro-Ukrainian sources published this video where we can see how exactly the Ukrainians were attacking oil reserves in this area, and as a result of this attack, as we can see, this oil depot was destroyed by the Ukrainian side, and there was a very huge fire. Furthermore, the sources stated that the Ukrainians attacked several vessels on the territory of the Azov Sea or the Black Sea that were moving in this area. The Ukrainians attacked them with Navy drones. The Russians during the previous hours were trying to destroy these Navy drones all over the entire territory of the Black Sea, but as we can see, several drones managed to break through Russian defense and to attack objects of critical infrastructure and ships and vessels in this area. The Russians, from their side, also attacked the territory of Ukraine. Lots of explosions were recorded in the area of the city of Ismail, and today we received the report that the Russians, probably for the first time since the beginning of the conflict, attacked several tankers that brought fuel on the territory of this port. So we will discuss this video later because we have already received this video, but we will discuss this during the next update. Furthermore, the Russians attacked the settlements of Ternivka in the area of the city of Pavlograd, the settlement of Cherneshina, the settlement of Mereva was attacked by Russians. As for this territory, there is the biggest or a big oil refinery or oil depot on the territory of the city, and the Russians struck this territory with drones, and big fire appeared here, and as you can see, another fuel depot of the armed forces of Ukraine was completely destroyed. Furthermore, the Russians attack objects of energy infrastructure around the settlements of Kachalovka, Akhtirka, and in the most northern, almost in the most northern parts of Ukraine, around the settlement of Vovna. So this time the Russians are over-concentrated, but the Russians are attacking not big objects, but small objects through the entire territory of Ukraine. Small substations, small oil depots, and so on. As for Ukrainian sides, they attacked, as we discussed, in the direction of the Crimea, and several explosions took place on the territory of the city of Lugansk. Some plant was attacked and damaged by the Ukrainian forces. So the situation is quite complicated. The Russians overnight used 176 drones to attack the territory of Ukraine, and everybody understands right now that this upcoming night the Russians will repeat their attack, and they will try to damage and to attack more objects of infrastructure on the territory of Ukraine with additional batch of hundreds of drones. Now let's discuss the situation on the ground. The situation on the ground is quite complicated, and the most important thing is that during the previous 24 hours we haven't received anything. We haven't received anything about changes on the ground. We have a lots of videos of how Russians were attacking cities like Orechov, Верхняя Терса, Воздвижевка in the Zaporozhye direction, how Russians established complete and total control with FPV drones with these territories, but without changes on the ground. During this video, we could see how Russians were attacking positions of the armed forces of Ukraine on the territory of the city of Orechov. The settlement of Vozdvizhevka, another place with lots of episodes of how Russians were attacking the equipment of the armed forces of Ukraine on the territory of the city. Lots of episodes. The Russians, it seems, are preparing themselves before the beginning of a ground operation, but without changes on the ground. According to different sources and reports that we had previously, the Russians managed to enter the southeastern part, but as of now we don't have enough of proofs to make additional changes when talking about color of the territory. As for the Dobropolye direction, during the previous 24 hours, lots of videos were recorded of how Russians were attacking positions of the armed forces of Ukraine deeper inside of the Dnipropetrovsk region. It seems that the Russians are preparing this territory before the beginning of a major offensive operation. The Ukrainians are saying that the Russians are not moving because they're waiting for leaves and they're waiting for the beginning of May or the end of the Orthodox Easter. Maybe the next week the Russians will begin acting more dynamically than we can see right now. The Konstantinovka direction, during the previous 24 hours, also just lots of videos of how Russians were attacking positions of the armed forces of Ukraine with aviation, with FPV drones, but without changes on the ground. The Slaviansk direction, as you can see, another day, another dozen of episodes that we received from this area, but without changes. And the same story about the northern directions. Once again, either the Russians are waiting for the end of the Orthodox Easter, or now currently both the Russians and the Ukrainians are focused on the state of Hungary. I would like to remind you that J.D. Vance, the Vice President of the United States of America, visited Hungary to support Viktor Orban before the beginning of election process that is going to, before elections, that the elections in Hungary will take place this weekend. And in several days we will understand whether the current Prime Minister of Hungary is able to save his position or he will be replaced by a opposition candidate. And if it happens, then most likely Ukraine will receive 90 billion euros to continue the war with the Russian Federation. So that is why now everybody in Europe understands that Hungary is a very important piece of the entire monolith and of the entire configuration of security, both for European countries, Ukraine, and from the other side, for the United States of America and the Russian Federation. And you know that the state of Hungary is probably one of the most interesting exceptions when both the Russians and the Americans, when Putin and Trump have common interests. And we see now that Russia and the United States of America are working together, trying to make certain conditions that will allow the current Prime Minister of Hungary, Viktor Orban, to save his position. At the same time, we see that both Ukraine and the European Union are trying to make everything they can with the purpose to remove this person from his seat, from his position of the Prime Minister of the state, which means that incoming weekend we'll see a lot of different things. For example, today we start receiving reports that the Ukrainians began recruiting people from Ukraine itself, especially from the territories along the border with Hungary, with the purpose then to send them here in this area to make protests, to fight with official authorities during the upcoming weekend. It seems that this upcoming weekend we might see the Hungarian Maidan and a riot of population. So let's wait and see what is going to happen next. But this battle is also a very important battle that is going to take place during the April of 2026. And that's it for today. The Military Summary channel reminds us we condemn any violence in the world. Thank you for watching. Subscribe to my channel, put your likes, join my Patreon, and have a good day. Bye bye.